Hello and welcome to the Drifting Rambles fanfiction corner of the Pony podcast. I might have added one too many.
It's four.
Okay, yeah, whatever. Pony to the Power of Four podcast. This is Subsolar Drift,
This is Bats.
and today we're bringing you the comedy cast. But
Yay!
comedy.
And that's comedy.
Yes. So today we'll be looking at three fics. The Last Stand of King Sombra, Twilight, Twilight's Bird Feeder, and Racist Barn.
Yay!
All right, so let's dive in.
Indeed.
So, the first fic we're going to look over today is Racist Barn by Ponydora Prancy Pants. And it is a comedy and loading random tags. So let's begin.
Shall we read the description?
Yes, thank you. I always forget something, even though this is only the second time, but still.
Always forget something the second time.
Yes. All right. The Unity Day party at Sweet Apple Acres goes awry after surprising accusations are leveled at Applejack on account of some difficult to discern lyrics. I trip over my tongue a lot.
That's okay.
All right. So,
This fic is awesome.
it really is.
It's hard to talk about comedy sometimes in a like a literary intellectual sort of way because sometimes it's just, oh, this was funny. And I think that's true about everything tonight, but I think it's especially true with Racist Barn because it's just funny. It's
Uh,
just a long joke.
yeah, it's all just like one huge ball of just like a chuckle.
Yeah, it's all just first off, I'm sure everyone who's seen the Apple Family Reunion episode did kind of hear the Raise This Barn song as Racist Barn. And if you
Racist
didn't,
barn,
you've had it pointed out at this point that it
racist
kind of
barn,
sounds like Racist Barn. Racist Barn, Racist
racist
Barn.
barn.
One,
One, two,
two,
three,
three, four.
four. Together we can racist barn. One, two, three. Forgive me. I like to sing.
I do too, but I'm not good at
Yeah, I'm debatable. People tell me I am, but I don't believe them.
it.
Anyways,
Anyway,
yeah. So it's basically the whole joke is on everyone except for Applejack, thanks to the racist barn, and it's just that she said racist barn instead of raise this barn, and everything just descends into who's a racist and who's not,
and the answer is everyone's racist, basically.
except for Pinkie Pie.
Pinky's the only one who isn't racist.
Woohoo!
The most unapologetically racist is Rainbow Dash, though.
Yeah, she's like Pegasus ponies rock. Yeah. Uh, and Twilight intellectually like trying to like no, I'm not racist. Oh god, I actually am.
Yeah, not a huge amount to talk about on some of these because it,
It's it's just funny.
it's just funny, and
The oh go.
right, it's structured perfectly. It has the rising crescendo of it just gets more and more ridiculous and more over the top with how racist everyone is without even really realizing it
And
on
then
a
it gets to
holiday about not being racist.
and then it gets to the best point when Derpy Hooves comes in, and when everyone else heard racist, she heard raise this instead of RISE and when RAISE and like destroys the barn, and it's just like yes.
The best part is the end for me on it with the I hate homophones. Bigot.
No, that is the best moment. The very very last joke. Consarted, I hate homophones. Bigot. I laughed so hard at that because I thought everything was over, and then you read the last line, and you're like, oh, ah. So, anything that didn't work for you?
I think that it maybe dragged a little tiny bit in the middle. It's exceptionally short, so it shouldn't. I mean, it's less than 3,000 words, which I know that for some people out there might not seem exceptionally short, but damn it, it is exceptionally short.
Meh, meh.
And it's just like a little bit in the middle. Yeah, I think it dragged just a little tiny bit, but not really that much.
Yeah, there's only so many jokes you can make about racism,
Yeah, they didn't
especially
cover
in
all of it, but in they definitely covered everything you can in a lighthearted racist joke
yeah.
sort of way.
We'll get to some more racist jokes you can cover in the next one. Even thinking about it cracks us up.
Yes.
Especially, yeah. But yeah. So yeah, it did drag a little. It left me wanting to move a little faster in the at parts, but it still works really, really well. And I love how Applejack knows homophone, the word homophone. I don't know. That's funny to me.
Now you're being prejudiced here. Why would
I
Applejack know the word homophone?
I thought, forgive me for thinking Twilight would be the one to say that. Excuse me. Excuse me, princess.
Bigot.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of us laughing like schoolboys.
Probably.
Can you use schoolboys? No, no, wait, no tangents, no tangents. Anyways, so, how about this? On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put this? 10 being the best, 10 being the best comedy fic you've ever read, 1 being the worst.
This would go as a good seven, I'd say. It's right up there. It's lighthearted. It's funny. It's not the sort of thing that when you read it, you're left laughing for hours, but you certainly laugh at it.
Yeah, I put this at a little 6. I got quite a few good chuckles. It's definitely above average. 6, 7 is it's definitely in that range. So, that's about all we can talk about for that one. So,
So let's go on to one that has a slightly more meat on its bones, and that is The Last Stand of King Sombra by Blue Shift, which is just purely tagged comedy. And the description for it is King Sombra has a problem, a Twilight Sparkle shaped problem. The evil ruler of the Crystal Kingdom is about to be overthrown unless he can hold out until reinforcements arrive. 7 days of keeping Twilight at bay. What's the worst that can happen? All he has to lose is his self respect and dignity.
and hilarity ensued.
It does.
So, okay. Well, first of all, the format of this fic works really well. I love that like how it has the days, and I like that.
I do too. It was nice to have the separation of the days, even if that can be a bit of a writing shortcut. It worked very well here.
Yes. So, it starts Monday, and the Monday joke is probably my favorite. I think the Monday joke is so funny.
Let's just we went right into spoilers on the one before, so we'll just
So,
we'll just tag the whole video as spoilers.
spoilers. All right.
These are too short to really have separate
Yeah.
sections.
Best racist jokes ever. By God, it's amazing.
Now, this isn't King Sombra, it's King Sombrero.
The amount of it's just the way he like I love it because it's how because it is totally racist the way he acts to Mexicans. He's got the mustache, he's got the hat, he's taking his siesta, etc., etc.
And it just gets worse. Like he just like he dives into a can of beans to eat them as quickly as possible.
Ay caramba! No, no, sombrero Castillo.
So awful.
And it's just like and it gets to the point where Twilight's just like, what he's doing is so racist that Twilight's just like, I don't think it is. I mean, that can't be King Sombra, can it? No one would pretend to act that way, would they? That would be.
Pinky goes, racist? Twilight, is this racist?
And so King Sombra just like hams it up and just and then he starts peering and then he starts like tagging the wall and like painting the wall
Uh,
orange. And then Fluttershy, it just it's it's horrible, but it's so horrible. It's amazing.
and it just, from there, the end result of them is just like, oh, sorry for bothering you. Really bad stereotype that has to be real because no one would do this. And then they come back the next day and it's like, and another thing. How dare you?
Like like they realize that he's not King Sombrero. It's like no more like a pathetic King Sombrero stuff. Face like a stallion, and so he's telling his assistant this whole time. Oh yes, I'm going to fight them. You think I'm scared of them? No, I'm strong, mighty, rah rah rah. And so they come in again, and then it's time for and then he says, now you will face my true light, my true might, and learn the power of my religion. Dot, dot,
Um,
dot.
yeah, and it keeps progressing from there. I think the one real flaw in it is that I think that the most powerful, if you can use powerful in this way, segments of like raw hilarity was the racist Mexican stuff at the beginning.
Yeah, they should have saved the first two for the last two.
Yeah, because they were definitely, but structure wise, you can't do the other things first and then whip out the sombrero and pretend that later. You can't do that and have it make sense.
No, but like it would have been nice to have some like peak hilarity moment later on that like top that somehow managed to top that. Like, it would have been better if the comedy had been more balanced out through the piece.
Yeah, it's hard to hit that, so you can't fault them too much. It's just one that it started out at the high point and then just drifted down a little tiny bit, and it would have been
Yeah,
nice if it ramped up instead of ramping down.
yeah. All right. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you put it?
I would put this one at a 7 or maybe an 8. It was definitely it's longer than Racist Barn, so as a result, it kind of has a more steady supply of laughs.
Yeah, I definitely give this an 8 because like it touches on like some things to get in my opinion the funniest stuff's the borderline stuff between appropriate and inappropriate, and it definitely touches there with the religion joke and the racist jokes, and I think that makes it a little bit better than Racist Barn in my opinion because it touches real racism.
Yeah.
Ay caramba, no, no, sombrero Castillo.
It would have been nice, I think, to tie in the racist part to the ending, since the ending has Rook tricking his reinforcements with the line that no, that's Castle Sombrero, and the Sombrero Castle instead of the Crystal Castle.
It would
And
have been nice to pull the racist thing back.
like if he showed up and instead of just being an old guy, he was a racist representation himself, that I think would have killed it for me.
Yeah, that would have knocked it up to a 9.
Yeah.
I don't know if anything can really hit 10. 10 is like the
I
perfect fit.
I have a 10 in mind, but I'm not talking about it.
Oh, is it the one we were talking about earlier?
Yes, yes
Oh
it
God,
is.
you can't give that a 10.
It
10
made
is
me laugh. I laughed 45 minutes solid after reading it. I laughed all through reading it, and then afterwards I laughed for an additional 45 minutes.
that's you can post the link in your blog post, but
No.
let's not talk about it here. All right, next fic.
Last one
Uh,
we're covering.
The last fic we're covering is Twilight's Bird Feeder by Heizaku, Heizaku,
Cl-
whatever. It's
Close enough.
yeah. It is tagged purely comedy, and the description is Twilight gets a bird feeder in the hopes of studying local birds up close. What she gets instead is a day full of frustration as the bird feeder mysteriously empties whenever she looks away. This fic is so funny.
I love this fic. And this fic I think is easier to talk about at length than the other two because the other two are they're stories. They are stories, but they're structured more like just a joke.
Yeah, this
And
one's
not
definitely a
saying a
story.
joke is in not seriously written, just structured as such that it's a punchline. You have the story exists as a build up to a specific punchline.
Whereas this is funny throughout.
Right. And not only is it funny throughout, the jokes that are in it are ones that are built into the story as a progression, and the point of it is to make you laugh, but the point of it isn't to get to the punchline.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Yes.
was actually one. This is one that we could have talked about in Fix That Feel Like Canon like episodes. Because
Because I could definitely seeing it be there, but since it's not really, I feel it's more comedy than the slice of life.
it's also a little bit the maturity level is maybe a touch past the show. Not very much, but just enough that some of the jokes in it are a little bit more adult than you'd expect in the show. Same sort of problem that we had with Nosferatu being
Yeah, a
perfectly.
little too much. Yeah, but so basically, Twilight's talking to Fluttershy one day, and she decides to get up a bird feeder, and hilarity ensues.
Yes, she is informed that she should probably think about getting a Pegasus shield, and with no explanation given to what that is or why she would need one. And so she decides not to because who needs a Pegasus shield? And it all that was probably the worst mistake she could have made.
Everything goes wrong. Knowing Twilight, she's going to do a lot of research into things, so she goes looking for what bird seed to buy. Goes looking through this magazine, and she's the princess's student, so she has a pretty good stipend, whatever. And so she decides, more expensive it is, the better it must be. So she goes and buys the most expensive brand. And when that arrives, she fills it in a bird seed and hangs it. In a bird feeder and hangs it.
And that was probably a mistake, seeing as that birdseed was for Pegasi. And without the Pegasus shield in place, birds won't touch it because they think that it's for a Pegasus, not for them. And as a result, Rainbow Dash thinks that this is a snack for her from Twilight. And not only that, this Pegasi bird seed that she gets is like a romantic gift to give a Pegasus that's a mild aphrodisiac.
And the it reads much better than we tell it, because everything just like slowly starts to build up, and then it's like you finally flick it over the edge, and everything just comes tumbling down.
Yeah, it's definitely the build up is perfect. The characters are really spot on, especially Twilight, and it's from her perspective. So if you miss on Twilight, kind of miss on the whole story. But it was a great Twilight, and the supporting characters who were in it were done very well, and it flowed perfectly. I think it's one of the sharpest fics that I've read.
Yeah, it really is spot on. Like this is one of the few fics I read that had probably the least drags of many fics I've read. The one spot I felt it was kind of dragging a little was in the initial setup of the when she was setting up the bird feeder. I felt like it dragged tiny bit, but besides that, pacing was 99.9% perfect.
Yeah, it got a lot into not very much space too, because it's
Yeah, no,
hair under
it's
4,000 words,
mm-hmm.
and what's there, everything that's there is perfect. There's nothing unnecessary. You didn't like the pace at the beginning. I thought it was so Twilight. It was perfect. So I
Mm,
didn't mind that at all.
yeah, no, it dragged, but like it didn't take away at all. I'm only saying that to find some tiny thing that I can nitpick.
I don't know that I can nitpick Twilight's Bird Feeder. Twilight's Bird Feeder is one of my absolute favorites. It's definitely it's definitely up there with some of the favorite things I've ever read from the fandom.
Mm. So the only thing that made it better for bats is if it was if it actually turned into real Twidash.
And even then, you can just imagine that the Twidash happens afterwards. That's what's great about it is it's not quite Twidash, but
But
it's
it's
close enough you can close your eyes and pretend. You can just pretend that afterwards, like she shows up, it's like, hey, I know it was the bird seed talking a little bit, but I wasn't like not serious.
yeah, and then and then Celestia and Luna arrive, and that's funny.
Oh, that made it. Even beyond everything else, that made it. The end there made it.
Yes, the end really did make it. So scale from 1 to 10.
This one is a solid 9. I'm not going to go with 10 because it didn't have me laughing for 45 minutes afterwards, but
Mm,
it's as close to a 10 on the laugh scale as I can get aside from the one that shall not be named.
I'll give it. I'll give it, and I'll give it a solid 8 as well. It was structured better and flowed better than the others, but my sense of humor, I like horrible things. I love horrible evil jokes, and the racism in Sombra's Last Stand was just so good that I can't rate this above it. So it's got to be on par.
I don't know particularly that it was funnier than either Racist Barn or Last Stand of King Sombra. I think both of them had more belly
Comedy.
laughs.
Yeah, but like this definitely gets points because it is a better structured story.
Right. It's just a perfect little story in a lot of
Mm,
ways. And the story is meant to be funny and it succeeds at being funny. It might not be the biggest laughs in the room, but it's the difference between watching a screwball comedy or watching a really good comedy that's has a story to tell as well. You know,
hmm
there is nothing wrong with watching Airplane, but watching Airplane isn't as satisfying as a movie that's failing me because I can't think right. Groundhog Day. How's that? Groundhog Day is really funny,
hmm
but it has a
Yeah,
story to tell.
absolutely. Uh, this only the only things that can get to be a 10 though, Bats. I have to make this joke for you. Are all you can eat shrimp.
Never has your death been so affordable.
And if you haven't played Cards Against Humanity, go play it.
Yes.
Okay, so that about covers it for this portion of this podcast brought to you by Bronies Everywhere. Bronies.
Yay. Hooray, bro.